Welcome, friends, and welcome to episode 266 of the Projekt Gemineye update. Today is December 31st. It is New Year's Eve in 2025. Sorry, I just got distracted. My computer, of course, every time I start recording, some stupid pop up has to come up and make some distracting noise. Anyways, why am I here today? It's New Year's Eve, and usually on these days, people put up their lists and do their reviews of the year. So I will do it as well. And I promise not to make it overly lengthy. I will get to the point, talk about some of the records that I've been very pleased with that came out this year, and also do a quick review of what happened with me through the year musically. So, without any further ado, let's get first to the first section of this video, which is going to be my top releases of 2025. Now, I'm not going to rank these because, quite frankly, I don't like doing that too much. There is a clear winner for me. I'll state that right away. There's a number one, so we'll save number one for last. I also have it on vinyl. But let's go through some of the albums that I thought that were fantastic that came out this year. And this is now in no particular order. So then, if that's the case, then let's do it this way. Dream Theater. What's this album called again? I keep forgetting. Parasomnia. This is the big album that everybody was excited about when they announced that it was going to be back. I think it was February or so of this year they released. I don't remember exactly the time when they released it, but Mike Portnoy was back in the band. Excitement was everywhere in the metal and prog community, and I was no different. I was excited to see that he was back with the band. And they released a album true to form, in my opinion. There's one, two, three, four, five, six, like eight songs on the album. There's of course a epic song on here. Of course, they have to do it all in black and silver, so you can't see diddly squat of it. But like the ending one is like some epically long song, as usual. And the opener, Into the Arms of Morpheus, that song put a smile on my face, particularly because of the fact that right in the first 30 seconds of this song, we get a "Hi, I'm back, guys" sort of drum fill from Mike Portnoy, the one, the fill that he likes to do, and we know he's back and everything is right in the world of progressive music again. So this album, I've enjoyed it. I've listened to it, quite a few times when it came out. How do I feel about it? I mean, obviously it made my list. There were other records that came out this year. This was good enough to make my list. But also Rhino did a Rocktober series where they released their first 4 albums. Images and Words. Well, that wasn't their first, but the ones that they were responsible for. Images and Words, Awake, Falling into Infinity, and Metropolis Part 2. Images and Words is for my favorite Dream Theater album. I was glad that got reissued because the originals are expensive as hell, and this one uses the same plates as the original, so I was happy that came out. And also they released a second batch which had 6 degrees of inner turmoil or something like that, or inner turbulence or something like that, and that's, I think honestly that's a really close second in my Dream Theater. So when those records came out too, those are honorable mentions for that, because those also came out in 2025, but they're not really new records technically. But to me, I don't care. I have my own rules for this, and I'd like to mention them in that sense. Now, on to the next album to talk about, and this is from an independent artist. And not only is he an independent artist, but he's a good friend of mine, and his albums have always made me smile. They've always made me want to sit down and maybe go through some of my guitar tones and see if I can maybe tweak them a bit better, because he always has such great sounds on his albums. I know who you think I'm going to talk about, and it's not him. He'll probably come up later on. We'll see. But I'm talking about Ryan McKay and his album that just came out not too long ago. Let me see. I wrote this down, I think. No, I didn't write it down. Sorry. But it did come out this year, called Zigzag. And I've said it before on his prior records, and this record is no different in that sense. But um, if you like good, hard hitting pop rock music with elements of Queen, Cheap Trick, uh, what's that band? I always forget their name. The boys are back in town. Those guys. Uh, I'm having a brain fart. But those guys, they're also very much influential in their in his songwriting. He's a much like me and much like a couple of other musicians. He is a all-in-one musician. Does everything from the drums to the guitars to the vocals to everything. If you don't own this record, I would highly recommend to go check it out. You can find him on Bandcamp. There's the way you spell his name, and it's just great stuff. And he has 2 other records before this one. All of them are fantastic and should be on your radar to pick up sometime very soon. So that's Ryan McKay. Okay, next up. Now I only have a vinyl of this, so I'll have to go down here and grab this. So give me 1 second here. Where is it? Now, when this album came out, and this album came out in, I think I wrote this, July 8th of this year, I was a little slow to pull the trigger. I got it in September, and then I finally listened to it in October. It's been a busy year. And this is a band I've been sort of championing, you know what I mean. I've been promoting them on Patrick's live stream and stuff like that whenever we're talking about music. They're Canadian. They're a 2-piece, and they're called Crownlands. This is their latest, called Ritual Part 1, Ritual Part 2. Okay. Double album, limited edition, 2 LP. And I'll read you what it says on the sticker, because it's probably one of the best ways to explain this album. Experimental and instrumental excursions from the Juno Award-winning Canadian progressive rock duo building the Crownlands world one step at a time. This is on transparent orange LP. These guys are heavily influenced by what you would think: Genesis, Rush, lots of Rush, and all the ELP and all those other things. The drummer, I believe his name is Corey, has a big drum kit, lots of Eastern instrumentation as well. He's went to university to study Eastern instrumentation and stuff like that as well. So the percussion stuff is incredibly good on these records. And the guitar player, I'm a little bit of an idiot because I should have wrote down the names of these people. So if you would just bear with me for 1 second, I would like to mention their names on here. There is luckily a pullout that will tell me this. Yeah, so Cody, there you go, is the drummer and singer, vocalist guy on here. And the other gentleman is Kevin Como. Now, Kevin Como is the guitar player slash keyboard player slash Moog bass player. So I've seen lots of footage with them playing live. I was supposed to see them when they were to open for Kiss when they came here, but Paul Stanley got sick during the farewell tour and they totally skipped Toronto. Thanks, Paul. And so I didn't get a chance to go see them. But I'm going to say that this album is remarkably well done. Done at Chalet Studios, which is ironically where I did a lot of my stuff before, when I was demoing stuff before. Fantastic studio up in the northern parts of Ontario, not really too far north, but north of Toronto, in the sort of woods, so to speak. Great environment to do stuff. And ironically enough, Rush demoed Power Windows, Hold Your Fire, I believe. I think even Test for Echo and some of these albums were all demoed at Chalet Studios, and this album was done there in its entirety. Great stuff. And I'll just say this too about the music, if I can get this back in. There we go. This album is absolutely perfect for if you want to get into one of those moods where there's like a big storm out and you want some mood music, put this on. It will not disappoint. Definitely put headphones on. You will. Incredible production, great performance, great sounds, great record. Buy it. Crown Lands, Ritual Part 1 and Part 2. Now we're going to get to an album which unfortunately I don't have a copy of. My CD is en route coming from the UK. And you guessed it, my good friend Joe Bailey has made my list again with his latest record, Torrential Pain. Incredible record. I mean, Joe gets better with every single album on there. His performances are great. His songwriting is fantastic. His orchestration is well thought out. His singing is, top notch. It's a pleasure to work with the guy. Myself, he works with me in the Dark Monarchy, where we are the duo that comprises of the Dark Monarchy. Wow, I'm stumbling over words again today. And his album came out in July as well of this year. And there's a limited edition vinyl, very limited if you haven't got a copy. I would seek into getting it. It might be a little pricey, but it's definitely worth it. It comes with a really nice layout. There's an OB strip. There's all kinds of, I think there's a poster and a sticker and stuff like that. I mean, check it out. He's on Bandcamp, and everything that you need to know about it is there. He has a great CD version of it, which I ordered, and this should be coming very soon. So I look forward to getting it. And all the proof that you need of how great this is in the music. Just go to Bandcamp and listen to it, and you will not be disappointed, my friends. Now, number 2. I guess I would technically call this number 2. Some people might be surprised, but Rolling Stones, Black and Blue. Now, this album is not what's my number 2, technically, I guess you could say, overall pick. Like, my number 1 and number 2, I knew what they were going to be. This is always going to be my number 2. But what I want to point out is this. This is what's my number 2. The Black and Blue box set that came out this year. Absolutely fantastic. Now, I'm a big Stones fan. I'm in that camp where I'm more a Stones fan than I am a Beatles fan. I know for all you Beatles people who are in shock and awe that I just said that. Yes, I am a Stones fan more than a Beatles fan. Great box set. 4 discs, album redone by, remixed and remastered by Steven Wilson. There's a bonus disc of unreleased songs and rarities and blah, blah, blah. And there's 2 discs of a live performance from Earl's Court, which is perfect, great performance of it. And the one thing that really sold me on this box set and what has made me listen to it ever since I've bought it almost on a regular basis, which was November 14th it came out, was there's a Blu-ray of all the stuff in high res, Atmos, everything else. But more importantly than that, there's a full, well, I don't know if it's full, but a pretty decent show from Paris, France on there from this tour. And that concert alone is, for me, worth the purchase of this box set. Incredible. And the book in there, nice hardbound book. You get a huge concert poster from that show that I'm just talking about as well, like massive poster. This is one of those box sets that you really must have if you're a Rolling Stones fan. I think it's incredible. And the concert performance is just, again, just perfect. They were, I think, at their height of their performing skills at this time. They had just gotten Ron Wood into the band as well. They had Billy Preston touring with them as well. And I believe Otis, I forget his last name, but they had a really good percussionist guy as well who toured with them for a couple of tours. Great band. They had horns as well, I think, on the tour. Incredible. I mean, great performances of Honky Tonk Man, Jumping Jack Flash, and all the Street Frightened Man, and all kinds of other songs. I mean, it's what you want to hear at a live performance. The Hand of Fate they did off the new record, Fool to Cry, and all that stuff. So amazing stuff. So now, my number 1 pick. Now you're gonna say, what could have possibly beat the box set? Well, this is more because this is one of my guilty pleasure bands, and with me saying that right now, you should probably know who I'm going to be talking about, and that is Sloan. Sloan is my guilty pleasure. These guys are Canada's answers to the Beatles. Now, these guys have been around for a long time, but I'll tell you something. I'm very glad that these guys have put out a record right now in this time period, because it's just fantastic that every year, or maybe every other year, they've been putting out records. And I just really enjoy the fact that their albums are well thought out, well structured, just amazing stuff going on their albums. And of course, being the true fan that I am, just give me 1 second here. And excuse me if you hear my mom, she's rather loud blabbering in the background. I don't know if somebody's called her or something, but she seems to be on the phone. So excuse me if you hear her in the background. Anyways, here's the vinyl version of the album. I had to get it, of course. I got it off the Bandcamp site. And just fantastic stuff. Amazing. I love this album. I can't say enough good things about it. Sloan has not made a weak album yet, in my opinion. It is my number one. Anytime Sloan will put out a record, I'm pretty well reassured, unless it's like Rush or somebody like that, or Yes, they will probably always be my number one pick if they put out a record. Much like my friend Vance, who, rest assured, if Led Zeppelin or Robert Plant puts out something in a year, he'll always have them as his number one. You can be assured that Sloan will be my number one if they put out an album in the calendar year. So there you go. There's my top records of 2025. I can put this away. And now we're almost at 20 minutes, so I'm going to get a move on with this because I don't want to make this video too ultra long. So this is my favorite here. Year in Review 2025 Projekt Gemineye. So what did I do this year? Well, in January, I put out the vinyl version of Canada Stories and Legends. As usual, I put out the vinyl of the CD and the digital version beforehand. That came out in 2024, but in 2025, in the early year, I got the vinyl finally done and put out, and people were very pleased with that. During the rest of that time period, up until about summer or May time, I was working on numerous little things in there. One of the things that I was working on in May was a single for The Peaceful Cacophony, which is David Donnelly and Denise Weiss, their project that they do. They hire me to mix and master a song called Set Me Free, which will be on their album that comes out, I think, this coming year, 2026. I think they're going to be releasing it. So I mixed and mastered that. I was working on that, so that was another thing that occupied some time, as well as continued writing. Not only was I working on my own music at this time, me and Joe had started writing material for the new Dark Monarchy album, but things started getting delayed with that after we had written the initial songs. I think we had them all written already. We just have to get on to the actual recording of it proper. But everything's sort of written, but he had a record that he wanted to put out. I was working on the vinyl version of it, so things kind of took a sidestep for a little bit, but we're going to get to that this year, and that'll be done for sure. So that's another thing to look forward to in this coming year. Then in June, I put out 4 singles, if you remember. Force of Nature, June 9th. Ride the Airways, June 16th. Hold Your Head High, June 23rd. And The Silent Flight on June 30th. All of them came out to nice reviews. I remember in Slang of Ages podcast, shout out to Preston Fraser, who's always been a huge supporter in my music, gave it all fantastic reviews. And in the interview that he did with me later on in the year, I think it was in November, we talked about that, and as well as my latest record, which I'll talk about in a minute. And thank you to Preston for always supporting my music and doing that interview, which, by the way, I was impressed to see that Joe Bailey, who also got interviewed by Mr. Preston Fraser, had about 3,000 views on his interview that he did for Torrential Pain. And I was shocked to see that my interview for The Dark Days of Yesterday has now hit 3,100 views as well. So interest in Preston's podcast is evident, and maybe interest in progressive music is stepping up a bit too. So fingers crossed on that one. So after those singles came out, it was work as usual, moving forward with lots of things, writing material constantly throughout the year. Then that rest of the time in the summer was used to work on The Dark Days of Yesterday, which is my latest album, which came out in November 12th. And don't forget too, this is another thing. During July, June, and August, I had sat down, buckled down, and worked on a Christmas record. I've gotten numerous emails from people, especially from a few people in England, who had always looked forward to my Christmas releases and were disappointed that I did not release one the year before. So I decided I wanted to really buckle down and do one this year. And I did. That was the time when I worked on it, which was, like I said, June, July, August or so. And then I wrapped up work on The Dark Days of Yesterday. That came out November 12th. And then right around that time as well, David Donnelly and Denise came back to me with another song to mix and master, which is It's Not Over, which got a lot of promotion on YouTube, and it was done. And there was also a special premiere of the video and the song on Rachel's Ghost podcast live stream that she does. And that song came out December 7th. I had a great time mixing and mastering that. Always fun to work with David and Denise. So that was another thing that occupied some time. So there is more stuff in the future coming up too that will be releases that I've had involvement with, either mixing or mastering or both of an artist. So looks like there might be some more mixing work for me in the future coming up, which I have no problem with. I look forward to doing that. And then to wrap up the year, on December 1st, so slightly before the premiere of David and Denise's song It's Not Over, I put out on December 1st Memories of Christmas Volume 6, which came out, and this is probably one of the best received Christmas things I've done. I've received actually a few emails from people saying that how much they've enjoyed it and have listened to it throughout December and thought that it was some of the strongest stuff that I've done. It's very progressive musically, and even in lyric wise. It's not one of these things where I revamp, Frosty or Rudolph. It's some very progressive sort of leanings where, you talk about science and Santa Claus, how he, goes around the world using scientific, theories and stuff like that to get around the planet in less than 24 hours. You know what I mean? Progressive sort of ideas to explain topics. So that was what I did musically. Besides that as well, a full year of podcasting on the Kiss FAQ podcast with my good friends, and shout out to Julian Gill, Ken Keenan, Lonnie Weishauer, Daniel Wees, love you, buddy. Great guy. So always having fun with those guys on the Kiss FAQ podcast. We do that every week, usually on Saturdays. We live stream that. And of course, the Yes Music podcast, which is also weekly with Kevin Keenan. Sorry, Kevin Keenan. I'm getting names mixed up here. Kevin Mulrine. Excuse me for that. Kevin Mulrine, who is the mastermind behind the Yes Music podcast. I co-hosted with him. He also put out a fantastic book this year, the Tales from Topographic Oceans Listening Guide. Amazing book. If you don't have a copy of that and you love Yes, I would suggest you check that out as well. And also, I want to give a shout out to Patrick, the vinyl archivist, and my buddy Vance, who's also live streams with us, as well as John, Bit Bop Boom, Steve, the Harmless Rebel, who joins us as well, and everybody else who's involved on the live stream that we do there. It's mainly me, Patrick, Vance. We started it together. John has been on there a lot as well with us. And, we have people coming in and out all the time on these streams. I'm there mainly Tuesdays and Sundays, so that will continue. I look forward to our podcast and our live streams, in 2026. I think they're going to be lots of fun. We always have a great time chatting about music and other things on that channel. And I know Patrick loves when we talk about pedals and other gear on there as well. So as well, shout out to other musicians out there, Ryan McKay. There's lots of other people who put out some albums as well. That did really well. I know Vance brought up a few other people that their names are escaping me now, and I excuse me for that. But there's been a lot of records that have come out from the vinyl community over the year, and those are all, worth your time and effort to seek out and listen to. So I think Joey Callio is somebody who's working on music now. Louis Golden is another person I can think of off the top of my head. And this is going to really bother me if I don't find out the name of this other one that's wrangling in my head here. What was that guy's name again? Well, Vance mentioned him on there as well before. And I got to figure this out. Sorry, guys. I'm tacking on extra minutes here when I really shouldn't probably be doing that. But just give me 1 second, and I'll tell you in a minute who it is. And I'm sure who this person is will probably appreciate me doing the extra effort to find his name on here. Sorry, I know this is so unprofessional, it's unbelievable. So the person is, where are you? I know I bought something from you. Sorry, people. Wow, I can't seem to find his music on here. Well, sorry. But oh yeah, Orion, that's Ben Jones. He's another guy who's worked on music as well. This is really bothering me because I really wanted to bring up this person. Where is it? I know I bought a record from him. And see, that's another thing that I'm going to make a promise of as well this year, is that I'm going to have to up my game with video editing, because all this should be probably edited out. But unfortunately, I don't have a way of editing this. Anyways, lots of good stuff has come out this year. Let's just leave it at that. If I forgot to mention you, I apologize again. I thought that Ryan Kidd, there you go. I knew the ticker would work eventually. Ryan Kidd, he put out a record this year as well. Hats off to him. I bought the cassette of his last one, and I was going to buy the cassette of this one, but I ran out of time and it sold out. So my tough luck for that. I'll probably try to grab a vinyl version of it sometime in the new year as well. But Ryan Kidd, great stuff. Check out his music as well. And I guess I'll leave it at that. So happy New Year, everybody. I'll see you all in 2026, where I have lots of plans to do stuff. I've talked about it already in some of my prior videos. And I'll leave it at this because it's almost half an hour long. And we'll talk about what's going to be happening in 2026 in 2026. So have a great night, everybody. And I'll talk to you all very soon. Bye-bye for now.